Hello students, myself Milan Patel, Assistant Professor at LJIET Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today's topic is about painting. So let's begin. First of all, we will see introduction of painting. These paints are liquid compositions of pigments and binders which when applied to the surface in these thin coats dry to form a solid film to impart the surface a decorative finish. Apart from giving protection to the base material like concrete, masonry and plaster surfaces from weathering, corrosion and other chemical and biological attacks. Okay, this is called as paints. These paints preserve timber structures against warping and decay. Okay, most of the metals corrode if not painted at suitable interval. Okay, this painting on surface impart decoration, sanitation, and improve illumination. Okay, these are the advantages of painting. You can say. Okay, now let's see what are the characteristics of an ideal paint. Okay, this paint should form a hard and durable surface. It should give good appearances. It should be cheap and readily available. It should be such that it can be applied easily to the surfaces. It should have good spreading quality so as to cover maximum area in the minimum quantity. It should dry in reasonable time. It should not show hair cracks after drying. It should form film of uniform color on drying. It should be stable for a longer period. Okay, and it should not be affected by any atmospheric agencies. Okay, so these are the points to be remembered while selecting a good paint. Okay, now let's see what are the information required before painting. Okay, so before painting or before selecting the type of paint, okay, you have to require some information like type of concrete on which painting should be done, masonry or plaster surface type, okay, type and nature of previous treatment if done any, then situations of use like external finish or internal finish, extent to which surface will be exposed to weather, okay, then the nature of backing in case of new plaster surface, type of plaster undercoat and its finish, approximate date of completion of the plaster work, and any addition of line to the plaster finishing coat is done or not. Okay, so these are the basic information required before selecting the type of paint. Okay, now let's see the constituents of painting. Okay, there are number of constituents of painting like a base material, then a vehicle, a dryer, a coloring pigment, and a solvent. Okay, we will discuss all constituents of painting one by one, starting with base. Okay, a base is a solid substance in the form of fine powder forming the bulk of paint. Okay, it is generally a metallic oxide. Okay, the type of base determines the characteristic of the paint and imparts durability to the surface painted. Okay, a base in paint provides a opaque coating to hide the surface to be painted. Okay, various bases are commonly used nowadays, like white lead, red lead, okay, oxide of zinc, or you can say zinc white, okay, oxide of iron, titanium white, antimony white, aluminum powder, lithophone, etc. Okay, these are the various types of base material you can use to form a solid substance. Okay, on the wall. That's all about the first constituent space. Second is a vehicle. Vehicle is also called as a carrier, or these are the liquid substances which hold the different ingredients of a paint in liquid suspensions. Okay, the carrier or vehicle makes it possible to spread the paint evenly on the surfaces. Okay, there are various types of vehicle like linseed oil, turd oil, poppy oil, nut oil, etc. This linseed oil is also have various types like raw linseed oil, boiled linseed oil, pale linseed oil, double boiled linseed oil, stand oil, etc. Okay, you can use any type of vehicle to your paint. Okay, raw linseed oil is very thin, but it takes a long time to dry. Boiled linseed oil is thicker compared to raw linseed oil. For delicate work, however, only raw linseed oil is used along with dryers and poppy and nut oil. Okay, it is also used for interior work. Double boiled linseed oil dries very quickly and it is suitable for external work. Okay, it requires thinning agent like turpentine. Okay, tug oil is used for preparing paints of superior quality. Okay, and colors in poppy oil last very long. Okay, compared to other type of vehicle. Okay? That's all about vehicle. Next is a dryer. Dryers are used to accelerate the process of drying and hardening by extracting oxygen from the atmosphere and transferring it to the vehicle. Okay. However, dryers reduces the elasticity of the paint. They should not be used in the final coat. Okay. These dryers may be in the form of soluble dryers or paste dryers. Okay. Liquid dryers are finely ground compounds of metals such as cobalt, lead, manganese, which is dissolved in volatile liquid. Okay, the space dryers consist of compounds of the above metal mixed with large percentages of inert fillers such as barytes, whiting, etc. And they then ground into the linseed oil. Okay, the inert fillers serve the various purposes like it reduces the cost of paint, it improves durability, it modifies the weight of the paint, and it also prevents shrinkage and cracking problems. Okay, so these are the various you can say purposes why we have used this type of dryers. Okay, a litharge, PBO, red lead, PB304, and sulfates of zinc and manganese are used as a dryers. Okay, litharge is most common in use, but in general, lead dryers should not be used with zinc paints. Okay, these dryers are also called as adulterants. Okay, their weight should not exceed one fourth of the weight of the base. Okay, so these criteria should be kept in mind while mixing a dryer with the paint. Okay. That's all about the dryer. Next is coloring pigment. Coloring pigments are added to the base to have different desired colors. Okay, they are fine particles and have reinforcing effect on thin film of the paint. These pigments can be divided into various divisions like natural colors in which ochres, umbers, iron oxides are there. Then second is calcined color which has various types of divisions like lamp black, Indian red, carbon black, red lead, etc. Next is precipitates, which has colors like Prussian blue, chrome green, chrome yellow, etc. Next is lax, which is prepared by discoloring china clay with the help of suitable dyes. And the last is metal powders. These are the powders of aluminum, bronze, copper, zinc, etc. Okay, so these are the various types of pigments you can use in your paint. Okay. The desired shade or tint of the paint may be obtained by using a single or combination of the various types of pigments. If you require black color, the black should be made with the help of the combination of various pigments like a lamp black, carbon black, pond black, graphite, vegetable black, ivory black, etc. Blue can be done by combination of various pigments like indigo, ocean blue, cobalt blue, ultramarine, etc. Brown can be done by burnt umber, raw umber, burnt senna, Vendic brown, etc. Okay, green color can be made with the help of combination of Paris green to make green, then green earth, then verdigris, copper sulfate, etc. Red can be made by Indian red, then Venetian red, vermilion red, uh, carmine, red lead, etc. And yellow color has a various combination like chrome yellow, rose sienna, yellow ochre, or zinc chrome. Okay, so these are the various combinations by which you can make different shades of the colors. Okay, now let's see what is the term PVCN means. The concentration of pigment in a paint is denoted by PVCN, which is pigment volume concentration number. Pigment volume concentration number is called as PVCN. It is defined by the equation PVCN is equal to V1 divided by V1 plus V2. Here V1 is the volume of pigment in the paint and V2 is the volume of non-volatile vehicle or carrier in the paint. Okay, so V1 divided by V1 plus V2, by which we can get PVCN number. Okay. The durability and gloss of paint is inversely proportional to the value of PVCN. Okay. So if the PVCN number is less, the durability and gloss of paint is comparatively more. Okay. The following table gives the PVCN for paints used for various purposes. Okay. Like if the PVCN range is about 25 to 40, this type of paint is used for prime coat on metals. If the PVCN range is between 35 to 40, paint is used for prime coat on timber. Okay. If PVCN range is between 28 to 40, this paint can be used for exterior surfaces of the buildings. Okay. If the PVCN range is between 35 to 45, you can use this type of paint in semi-close paint. Okay. This is called as semi-close paint. Okay. And if the PVCN range is 50 to 75, okay, it is called as stained paint. Okay. So these are the various types of paint and their PVCN range. Okay. That's all about the coloring pigments. Now let's see a solvent. Solvents are added to the paint to make it thin so that it can be easily applied on the surfaces. It also helps the paint in penetrating through the porous surface of the background. Okay, because of this solvent, this paint penetrates into the background surface. Okay? The thinning agent commonly used is the spirit of turpentine. Okay, thinner reduces the gloss of the paint. Turpentine oil is affected by weather. Hence, minimum quantity of thinner should be used for painting external type of surfaces. Okay, there are various list of thinners available in the market for various types of paints. Okay, if the paint is the oil paint, you can use a thinner like spirit of turpentine, naphtha, or benzene. If the type of paint is spirit liquors, you can use the thinner alcohol. Okay, if the type of paint is cellulose paint, okay, you can use thinner ethyl amyl acetate. Okay, and if you use a distemper type of paint, you can use water as a thinner. Okay, so these are the various types of paint and the required thinner material. Okay, that's all about the various constituents of painting. Now let's see the classification of paints. This classification of paints is done based on various ways, like based on binders, based on ultimate use of paint, and mixed classification. Based on binders, there are various types of paints like oil paints, non-oil, resin-based paints, cellulose paints, water-based paints, miscellaneous paints, etc. Based on ultimate use of paint, there are various types of paints, like for general purpose paints, primers, undercoat paint, and finishing is there. And then acid and alkali resistant paint is there. Fire resistant paint is also there. And then fungicidal paint is there. And anti-condensation paint is also there. Okay, these are the various types of paint based on ultimate type of uses. Okay. In mixed classification, there are various types of paints. Like first is aluminum paints, then anti-corrosive paint, then asbestos paint, bituminous paints, bronze paints, casein paints, cellulose paints, cement-based paint, then colloidal paints, then emulsion paints, enamel paints, graphite paints, indoors paints, oil paints, plastic paints, silicate paints, and synthetic rubber paints. These are the various types of paints available in the market. Okay, we'll discuss all these types of paints one by one, starting with aluminum paint. Okay, these aluminum paints are made by mixing finely ground aluminum with spirit or oil varnishes. Spirit varnish makes the drying period shorter, and oil varnish imparts slow drying facility. So varnish can be used according to the requirement of your drawing. Okay, this type of paint is used for painting woodworks, metallic surfaces, etc. Okay, the layer of paint is hardened by evaporation of spirit or oil. Okay, aluminum paint has many advantages such as it is weather resistant, waterproof, highly heat reflective, corrosion resistant, high electric resistant, high covering capacity, visibility in darkness, better appearances, etc. This is how aluminum paint looks like. Okay. The second type of paint is anti-corrosive paint. Anti-corrosive paints are used to resist corrosion. So this type of paint is widely used for metal surfaces like pipe, external structures, which may allow to corrosive nature, etc. Okay, linseed oil is generally used as a vehicle, and along with it, a strong dryer is used to make anti-corrosive paint. Okay, so to make anti-corrosive paint, you have to use linseed oil as your vehicle, and strong dryer should be used in your paint. Okay, it is very cheap and it lasts longer comparative to other type of paints. Okay. Third is asbestos paint. This asbestos paint is a special purpose paint which is made of fibrous asbestos. Okay, it is used for covering leakage in metal roofs, for patchworks, for protecting surfaces from acid gases and steam also. Okay, rusting of pipes, flashing, gutters, etc. can also be prevented using asbestos paint coating. Okay, this is how asbestos paint looks like. Next is bituminous paint. Bituminous paints are obtained by dissolving tar or asphalt, tar or mineral pitches in a naphtha, petroleum, or white spirit. Okay, they provide black appearances like this to the surface. Bituminous paints are used for metal surface structures in underwater conditions and pipes carrying water. Okay, bituminous paints have good alkali resistant property compared to other types of paint. Okay. Next type of paint is bronze paint. Okay, these bronze paints are reflective paints which are widely used on radiators. It can be used either for internal or external metal structures. Okay, general vehicle used in bronze paints is nitrocellulose lacquer. Uh, Pigments used are aluminum bronze or copper bronze. Okay, this is how bronze paints looks like. Next type of paint is casein paint. This casein is a protein which is available in milk curd, is taken and is mixed with white pigments to get casein paints. Okay, it is available in powder form or you can say paste form. Color pigments can be used to get required color. Casein paints are used for coating walls, ceilings, woodworks, etc. But for exterior usage, this paint should be mixed with dryers. Okay. Seventh type of paint is cellulose paint. The cellulose paints are special type of oil paints. They are made of celluloid sheets, nitrogen, cotton, amyl acetate, and photographic films. In case of normal oil paints, layer is hardened by oxidation, but in this case, layer is hardened by the evaporation of solvent. Okay, this type of paints provides smooth finish and is not affected by smoke, water, acid, etc. It is very costly and only be used for painting aircrafts, motor cars, etc. Okay, this is how cellulose paints looks like. Next type of paint is cement-based paint. Cement-based paints contain cement as a base material. These paints contain cement, accelerator, pigment, and other additives. They are available in powder form. Okay, by mixing water to this powder and stir to the required consistency, the paint is obtained. Okay, cement-based paint is waterproof and can be applied in the interior or exterior surfaces. Okay, this is how cement-based paint is applied. Okay. Next is colloidal paints. These colloidal paints do not contain any type of inert material. It takes long period to settle due to colloidal properties. When it is applied on the surfaces, it settles and penetrates through the body of the surfaces. Okay, this is how colloidal paints looks like. Next is emulsion paints. These emulsion paints have good alkali resistant properties. This property can be achieved by using vehicles like polyvinyl lactate, styrene, then alkyd resin, etc. It dries very quickly within 1.5 to 2 hours and it can be washed with water because of its film forming constituent is emulsified in water instead of solvent. Okay, so this type of paint can be used for all masonry works, especially for stucco plaster brickwork, which contains free alkali. Okay, so this is how immersion paints looks like. It is basically used nowadays in number of buildings. Next is enamel paints. The main constituents of enamel paints are metallic oxide, petroleum spirit, oil, and resinous matter. Enamel paint dries very slowly, but after drying, it forms very hard, impervious, and smooth surfaces. This layer cannot be affected by acids, alkali, gas fumes, water, etc. Different colored enamel paints are available in the market. So they are widely used for painting doors, windows, stairs, decks, etc. Okay, this is how enamel paints looks like. Now, next type of paint is graphite paint. This graphite paint is made of graphite, which is in black color. It is used for painting underground structures like mines, etc. Iron structures are coated with graphite paints also. Okay, this is how graphite paint looks like, which is on the vehicle plates. Okay, next is indoor paints. This paint contains white lead or zinc white mixed with methylated spirit. Okay, shellac with some quantity of linseed oil and castor oil is dissolved in methyl spirit. Okay, no turpentine is used in this type of indoor paints. This paint dries very quickly due to evaporation of methylated spirit, leaving behind a thin film of shellac like this. Okay, this is how indoor paints looks like. Next is oil paints. These oil paints are nothing but normal paints which usually contains a base and vehicle. General base constituents used for making oil paints are white lead, zinc white, lithopon, red lead, and titanium oxide. Okay, general vehicles used in oil paints are linseed oil, tug oil, etc. Along with base and vehicle, trials and color pigments are also used. Okay, the trials used may be litharge, red lead, zinc sulfate, and manganese sulfate, etc. Okay, these oil paints are very economic and they can be applied in very easy manner. Okay, they are generally applied in three course of varying compositions. So this type of paints can be applied for walls, doors, windows, metal structures, etc. in number of types of buildings. Okay, so basic type of paint which is used in number of buildings is oil paint. Okay, but the main disadvantage of oil paint is that they do not suitable for humid weather conditions. Okay, because they get some defects after some years. Okay, so if there is a humid weather condition, you avoid this type of oil paints. Okay, next type of paint is plastic paints. This plastic paint contains plastic as a base. This plastic paints dry very quickly, provides better appearances, and have high covering power. Okay, plastic immersion paint has become very popular these days. Okay, in number of residential or commercial buildings. The immersion, which is liquid having fine suspended particles of a substance, is composed of a plastic compounds such as vinyl acetate and acrylate, which are held in water. Okay, 1 liter of plastic immersion paint can cover 15 meters square of wall surface per watt. Okay, so based on that, you can easily find out the quantity of the required plastic paint. Okay, this plastic paint is applied in two coats, either with the help of brush or spray guns. Okay, they are used for cutting walls, slabs, tracks, etc. Okay, the next type of paint is silicate paint. The silicate paint is a mixture of silica and resinous substances. Silica gives very good adhesion to the paint, which will form hard surface after drying. This surface can resist extreme heat with great resistance. Okay, the silicate paints never reacts chemically with the metals. So this type of paint can be used in hot conditions and for metal structures also. Okay, this is how silicate paints looks like. The next type of paint is synthetic rubber paints. The synthetic rubber paints are made by dissolving synthetic resins in suitable solvents. By adding suitable pigments to this mixture, the color can vary. Okay, this type of paint is widely used on cement concrete surfaces like concrete walls. This paint is less affected by rain, sunlight, etc. Okay, and it has very good resistance properties against acids, alkali, moisture conditions, etc. Okay, it dries very quickly and maintains uniform color throughout the surfaces. Okay, this is how synthetic rubber paints looks like. That's all about the various types of paints. Thank you for watching.